Hey there, and welcome back to Discover Top 5, your go-to channel for the most eye-opening rankings on the internet. If you love uncovering the best and worst of everything, from travel destinations to lifestyle choices, then you're in the right place. Today, we're tackling a topic that might surprise you: the top 10 worst states to live in the United States. Now, before we get started, let's make one thing clear. Every state has something special to offer, whether it's breathtaking landscapes, rich history, or unique culture. But when it comes to overall quality of life, some states face serious challenges that make day-to-day living tough for their residents. So, what exactly makes a state bad to live in? Well, we've crunched the numbers and analyzed the data across key factors that affect people's lives the most. Things like high crime rates, poor healthcare systems, struggling economies, skyrocketing costs of living, job shortages, failing infrastructure, and even extreme weather conditions. Think about it: what good is living in a beautiful state if you can't afford rent, struggle to find a decent job, or worry about safety every time you step outside? From states battling economic decline to those facing climate disasters, this list will break down the harsh realities of living in certain parts of the US, and trust me, some of these rankings may shock you. Now, you might be wondering, is your state on this list? Or maybe you're thinking of relocating and want to avoid moving to a place with hidden struggles. Either way, stick with us as we count down the states that fall short in providing a stable, safe, and comfortable lifestyle for their residents. But before we get into it, do me a quick favor: smash that like button, subscribe to Discover Top 5, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest rankings. We're always bringing you fresh, well-researched content, and your support helps us keep going. And hey, we want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let us know which state you think deserves a spot on this list. Have you lived in a state with bad infrastructure, rising crime, or a struggling economy? Your experience matters, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. Alright, now that we've set the stage, let's dive into the countdown, starting with number 10.
Kicking off our list at number 10, we have Kansas. Known for its vast wheat fields and prairies, it may seem like a peaceful place to settle down. But there are several reasons why Kansas is not exactly the land of opportunity. For starters, Kansas ranks as one of the worst states for quality of life in 2024. The crime rate remains a significant issue, with over 11,000 violent crimes reported in 2022 alone. And while crime rates have started to decline, they still remain higher than the national average, making safety a concern for residents. Economically, Kansas doesn't fare much better. The state ranks 42nd in the nation for pro-worker policies, according to a report by Oxfam. The minimum wage is stuck at the federal level of just $7.25 per hour, covering less than 20% of the cost of living for an average family of four. And let's not forget the extreme weather. Kansas is located right in Tornado Alley, meaning residents face the constant threat of tornadoes and severe storms. When you combine unpredictable weather with a lack of entertainment options and declining small towns, Kansas doesn't seem like an ideal place to live. Next on our list, at number 9, is Arizona. This state is famous for its breathtaking desert landscapes and, of course, the Grand Canyon. But while Arizona might seem like a dream destination, living here is far from perfect. One of the biggest issues is air quality. The combination of dust storms, vehicle emissions, and industrial pollution creates a smoggy environment that can be harmful, especially for those with respiratory issues. Arizona also ranks poorly in health care and worker protections, scoring just 119 out of 325 points for quality of life in 2024. Child care is another weak point, with limited availability and extremely high costs. A married couple earning a median income can expect to spend nearly 14% of it on child care, making Arizona one of the most expensive states for working families. And of course, there's the brutal heat. Summers in Arizona regularly soar above 100 degrees Fahrenheit, making outdoor activities almost unbearable. With all these factors combined, Arizona's beauty just doesn't outweigh the challenges of living there.
Coming in at number 8 is South Carolina. There's no doubt that the Palmetto State has a lot to offer, from its charming small towns to beautiful beaches. But when it comes to everyday living, things get a little less appealing. South Carolina has one of the highest crime rates in the nation, with approximately 2,920 crimes per 100,000 residents. And despite efforts to combat crime, the state's law enforcement funding still falls below the national average. Health and well-being are also major concerns. South Carolina ranks in the top 5 for occupational deaths and is among the top 10 states for frequent physical and mental distress. Legal protections for workers are limited, and economic disparity is a growing issue. Nearly 2 million South Carolinians live in poverty or low-income conditions. And if you're considering the weather, you should know that South Carolina is prone to hurricanes and tropical storms. The state's rapidly growing population is also putting a strain on infrastructure, leading to rising housing costs and overburdened public services. At number 7, we have Arkansas. This state boasts stunning natural beauty and great outdoor activities, but it struggles in almost every other aspect. Arkansas consistently ranks among the states with the highest poverty rates, and this economic hardship trickles down into every part of life, from education to healthcare. The state's education system is severely underfunded, and it ranks near the bottom in terms of quality. This lack of investment means fewer opportunities for students and a weaker workforce overall. Healthcare is another major issue. Limited access to quality healthcare services leads to poor health outcomes, particularly in rural areas. The state also has high obesity and smoking rates, which only add to its public health concerns. Crime is another factor that makes Arkansas a tough place to live. The state has higher than average crime rates, making safety a concern for many residents. And while housing in Arkansas is affordable, the other drawbacks make it a less than ideal place to call home. New Mexico lands at number 6 in our list. While it's known for its rich culture and stunning desert landscapes, it's also home to some of the highest poverty rates in the nation. One of the biggest issues is the economy. Jobs that pay well are hard to find, and many residents struggle with low wages and financial instability. The state's economy just hasn't been able to keep up with modern demands. Education is another major concern. New Mexico ranks near the bottom in terms of public education quality, with one of the lowest high school graduation rates in the country. This lack of investment in schools affects future generations and limits job opportunities for young residents.
And let's not forget about crime. New Mexico has one of the highest crime rates in the U.S., with violent crime being a particular concern in certain cities. The state's climate also presents challenges. Extreme temperatures, droughts, and water shortages make daily life more difficult for residents, especially those who rely on agriculture.
Now moving on to Alabama, where things aren't exactly peachy either. Alabama faces its own set of issues that make it a tough place to live for many. For starters, the state has a high poverty rate. Similar to New Mexico, economic opportunities are limited, and many residents struggle to find stable, well-paying jobs. This economic hardship is compounded by a tax system that tends to favor the wealthy, leaving lower-income families with a heavier burden. Nearly 17% of the state's population lives below the poverty line, making it one of the poorest states in the country. The minimum wage remains at the federal level of $7.25 per hour, which is far from enough to cover the cost of living in most areas. Education in Alabama also leaves much to be desired. The state consistently ranks low in terms of educational attainment and quality. Schools are often underfunded, and students don't always receive the resources they need to succeed. The state ranks 46th in overall education quality, with low test scores and high dropout rates. The lack of investment in education can have long-lasting effects on the state's workforce and economy, making it difficult for residents to improve their circumstances. Healthcare is another area where Alabama falls short. Access to quality healthcare is limited, particularly in rural areas. The state has some of the highest rates of chronic health conditions, such as diabetes and heart disease, which are exacerbated by limited access to medical care. Alabama also has one of the highest infant mortality rates in the country, highlighting the state's struggle to provide adequate healthcare services. Hospital closures in rural communities have left many residents without easy access to necessary treatments, forcing them to travel long distances for medical care. Finally, let's talk about the social issues. Alabama has a history of racial and social inequality, which continues to affect the state today. Discrimination and disparities in income, education, and healthcare persist, creating a divide that can be difficult to bridge. These social challenges add another layer of complexity to life in Alabama, making it a tough place for many to thrive. Despite its rich history and southern charm, the state's economic struggles, lack of resources, and social issues make it one of the hardest places to live in America. First off, Oklahoma is notorious for its extreme weather conditions. We're talking about scorching hot summers and bone-chilling winters, not to mention the infamous tornadoes that sweep through the state with alarming regularity. Oklahoma is right in the heart of Tornado Alley, meaning residents frequently deal with destructive storms. It's like Mother Nature can't decide what she wants, so she throws everything at you. If you're not a fan of dodging twisters or sweating buckets, this might not be your ideal spot.
But it's not just the weather that's a downer. Oklahoma's economy isn't exactly booming either. The state ranks 45th in income growth, which means your paycheck might not stretch as far as you'd like. With a high percentage of the population living in poverty, around 43%, it's clear that financial struggles are a common theme here. The job market isn't the best, and wages remain low compared to national averages. And let's not forget about the healthcare situation. Oklahoma ranks 49th in the percentage of insured residents, so if you're planning to move here, make sure you've got a solid health insurance plan, because the state's healthcare system might not have your back. Many residents lack access to affordable healthcare, and hospitals in rural areas struggle to keep their doors open. Education is another area where Oklahoma could use some improvement. The state has been criticized for its low school funding, which can impact the quality of education children receive. Oklahoma ranks near the bottom in terms of per-student spending, which affects teacher salaries, classroom resources, and student performance. This lack of investment in education contributes to low social mobility, making it harder for people to climb the economic ladder. If you're thinking about raising a family here, you might want to consider these factors carefully. Additionally, the state imposes a sales tax on food, which isn't exactly friendly to those on a tight budget. With low wages and high living costs, Oklahoma presents numerous challenges for its residents. While it does have beautiful landscapes and a strong sense of community, the economic and social struggles make it one of the hardest places to live in the U.S. Now let's switch gears and talk about California. You might be surprised to see it on this list given its reputation for sunny beaches and Hollywood glamour. But beneath the glitz and glam, there are some serious issues. For starters, the cost of living in California is sky high. Housing prices are through the roof, and even renting can burn a hole in your pocket. It's no wonder people joke about needing a second job just to afford a studio apartment in San Francisco or Los Angeles. The median home price in California is over $700,000, which is nearly double the national average. For many, home ownership is simply out of reach.
Traffic is another major headache in California. If you've ever been stuck on the 405 during rush hour, you know what I'm talking about. The state's sprawling cities mean long commutes and endless traffic jams, which can take a toll on your mental health and patience. California also has some of the highest gas prices in the nation, making those long commutes even more expensive. And while we're on the topic of health, California's air quality isn't always the best. Wildfires, smog, and pollution can make breathing a challenge, especially for those with respiratory issues. Los Angeles, in particular, has long struggled with air pollution, ranking among the worst cities in the U.S. for air quality. Climate change has only made these issues worse, with prolonged droughts and record-breaking heat waves becoming more common. Despite its reputation for being progressive, California also grapples with significant social issues. Homelessness is a visible and growing problem, particularly in urban areas. The state has one of the highest rates of homelessness in the country, and finding effective solutions has proven challenging. Tent cities and makeshift shelters have become common sights in cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles. Additionally, while California boasts a strong economy, the wealth gap is stark. Many residents struggle to make ends meet despite the state's overall prosperity. While Silicon Valley and Hollywood generate billions, millions of Californians face economic hardship due to high taxes, rising rent, and a lack of affordable housing. These challenges make California one of the most difficult states to live in, despite its many attractions and opportunities. If you can afford the cost of living and don't mind the traffic, it may be a great place to call home. But for many, the financial strain and environmental concerns make it a tough place to settle down.
Next up, Mississippi. Now, if you've ever wondered why this state consistently ranks at the bottom, let me tell you it's not just about the humidity. Mississippi has the lowest life expectancy in the nation at just 71.9 years. That's nearly 5 years less than the national average, making it the shortest lifespan of any state in the U.S. But it doesn't stop there. The state also leads in other concerning health statistics, including high rates of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. Nearly 40% of Mississippi's adult population is classified as obese, making it the second highest in the country. Mississippi also struggles with some of the highest rates of infant mortality, preterm birth, and low birth weight in the U.S. The lack of access to quality health care only exacerbates these issues, especially in rural areas where hospitals and medical facilities are scarce. Residents often have to travel long distances to receive medical attention, and even then, the quality of care is frequently inadequate. Economically, Mississippi isn't faring much better. The state has the lowest per capita income in the country at just over $25,000, and nearly 19% of residents live below the poverty line, the second highest rate in the nation. Unemployment and food insecurity are rampant, and the state's public education system is one of the most underfunded in the country. Schools are struggling with outdated resources, teacher shortages, and lack of funding, which makes providing quality education a serious challenge. Infrastructure in Mississippi is another major concern. The roads and bridges are among the worst in the nation, with potholes and deteriorating highways making travel a hassle. Internet access is also lacking, leaving many rural communities disconnected from modern opportunities like remote work and online education. Socially, Mississippi continues to deal with racial and economic inequality. The wealth gap between different communities is vast, and progress towards inclusivity and equality has been slow-moving. When you combine all these factors, economic hardship, poor health care, low wages, and weak infrastructure, it's clear why Mississippi is ranked as one of the worst states to live in.
Finally, we arrive at the number 1 spot, Louisiana. While this state is famous for its vibrant culture, rich history, and delicious cuisine, it unfortunately ranks as the worst state to live in due to a mix of economic, health, and safety concerns. Let's start with the economy. About 1 in 5 people in Louisiana live in poverty, which is the highest rate in the nation. The state struggles with low wages, limited job opportunities, and an economic system that has not adapted well to modern industries. Louisiana also ranks among the worst in the country for income inequality, with a small percentage of the population holding most of the wealth, while many others struggle to make ends meet. The cost of living may be lower compared to some other states, but so is the average income, making it difficult for families to achieve financial stability. When it comes to healthcare, Louisiana doesn't fare much better. The state has one of the highest rates of chronic diseases, including diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. Access to medical care is another major issue, particularly in rural areas where hospitals are closing at alarming rates. Louisiana has some of the worst maternal and infant health statistics in the country, with high rates of infant mortality and maternal complications. Education is another area where Louisiana struggles. Public schools are underfunded, and the state ranks near the bottom in terms of academic achievement. High dropout rates and poor student performance have been persistent problems, making it difficult for young residents to get a good start in life. Limited access to quality education has long-term effects on the state's workforce and economy, contributing to a cycle of poverty and underemployment. Safety is another major concern for residents of Louisiana. The state has one of the highest violent crime rates in the country, particularly in cities like New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Louisiana also ranks first in the nation for murder rates, making it one of the most dangerous states to live in. Law enforcement struggles to control crime, and many communities suffer from a lack of public safety resources. And then there's the environment. While Louisiana's natural beauty is undeniable, it is also one of the most disaster-prone states in the country. Hurricanes, floods, and coastal erosion are constant threats to residents, with major hurricanes like Katrina and Ida leaving long-lasting scars on communities. The increasing impact of climate change means Louisiana will continue to face devastating storms and rising sea levels, further jeopardizing its infrastructure and economy. When we put all these factors together, high poverty rates, poor healthcare, struggling education, crime issues, and environmental threats, it's easy to see why Louisiana has earned the unfortunate title of the worst state to live in the U.S.
And there you have it, the top 10 worst states to live in the U.S. Some of these states may not have come as a surprise, while others might have been completely unexpected. But one thing is clear, Where you live can have a massive impact on your daily life, from job opportunities to healthcare, safety, and even your overall happiness. Now, we know that every state has its ups and downs. No place is perfect, and even the worst states have hidden gems, amazing communities, and hardworking people making a difference. If your state made this list, don't take it personally. Instead, let's talk about it. What do you think needs to change to make things better? What challenges have you seen firsthand? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. We love hearing different perspectives and real-life experiences from people like you. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive and want more eye-opening rankings, make sure to smash that like button. It really helps us out. Subscribe to Discover Top 5 so you never miss a new video. Hit the notification bell so you're always the first to know when we drop our latest rankings. We've got tons of exciting videos coming your way, whether it's the best places to live, crazy facts about cities, or more shocking rankings that will make you rethink everything you know. And if you want to keep exploring with us, check out some of our other videos right here. Until next time, this is Discover Top 5 bringing you the rankings that matter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.